lifetime. We claim that the real income steadily rises over time until near the retirement, and then the income will drop sharply. Another assumption we made is about the pattern of consumption. In here, we are bearing the concept of the consumption smoothly in mind, and so we believe that the pattern of consumption is much smoothed. So in the chart, we will show it as a flat line, but we do know that in reality, it does vary by age. The next assumption we made is related to the pattern of savings. We assume that the saving will be low or even negative in the early working life and then max at the income high, and then the individual will de-save after retirement. So then, given these assumptions, we want to look at how will the consumption and saving behavior over the lifetime for an individual. But for sure, in here, we assume there's no bequest. If bequest is allowed, then the individual will save even more and consume less. So now let's look at the graph to illustrate the concept of the life cycle model. So here comes the graph. In here, we want to show the income and consumption for an individual over the lifetime. Therefore, the vertical axis is about the income and consumption level. The horizontal axis is about the age over the lifetime. Therefore, we have the income of an individual. We believe that as an individual, our income tends to be low when we are young, and then when we become old in the middle age, it will become higher, it gradually increased, and then some point it will come down again. So this is how the income of an individual looks like. So how about consumption? We know that we assume that the consumption is relatively smooth. So in here we draw an extreme case that it is a flat line. So in here we show that even though our income shape is hump-shaped, but we will choose the consumption that is roughly constant. So then based on that, we know in the early age, we tend to have more consumption than our income, but in our later age, we will have more consumption than our income. And then once we reach the point that is more like the retirement, we are going to have our consumption again higher than the income. So this is the consumption and income for an individual over the lifetime. So then what will be the related savings? So let's draw another graph with the vertical axis that is saving, and the horizontal axis is also the age. As you can see in the above graph, that as an individual becomes older and older, they are going to have the de-save, which is they have the consumption higher than the income that becomes less and less. So then the distance between consumption and income becomes shorter and shorter. And then when the individual reaches certain age, then the savings will turn from negative to positive. And then it gradually increase, and then it begins to fall again in the middle age. And then once they reach another point, for example, the retirement, then this saving will become higher and higher and higher again. So then in graph, we can come up with the pattern of saving like this, which is that at the point before the saving is positive, the de-saving will gradually decrease. And then when the saving becomes positive, it will increase over time and then falls. But then when an individual reaches certain age, they will begin to have the de-save again, and this de-save will become larger and larger. Therefore, the point that the age that the individual facing the de-save is when they are young and when they are old, and we can find a line that represents zero saving. So this is the end of today's lecture. I know it is short, but as long as you want to write down a note for the visual model, then it will take time more than the video time. So let me end here.